Okay, everybody. I was doing a video on through my phone, and somehow the my phone, I guess it didn't have enough space because it cut me off. Dang, I gotta move this again. Um, it cut me off. I was like, I was running my mouth, just running my mouth, and then that dang going phone, it cut me off. So I'm gonna have to do this again. Well, let me see. Let me just grab some of these books. These fat books, though, they probably gonna be so unstable. All right, let me see. No, they're still small. Okay. Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay, hold on. All right, another book. Should probably give this up. I'm doing all this stacking, and the book gonna end up falling. Okay, we getting there. We getting there. But anyway, this video is going to be just a big bring out the big book. It's going to be a discussion about Strange Things Away, and I know you guys are like, wait a minute, we talked about this book before, but I promised you all that I was going to. Okay, that's going to be good enough. Okay, that's even better. Okay, I promised you all that I was going to do a deep dive into this novel. It's good enough. I said I was going to do a very deep dive into this novel to give you all the details, the spoilers, and just really deep into go really deep into this novel, because my other videos I always tiptoe around details because I'm like, oh, I don't want to ruin the reading experience for others. So this is a spoiler. It's in the title. I'm going to give a whole bunch of details about the book, about the characters. If you have not read this book, please don't watch this video yet. I'm going to definitely talk about old characters that were cut out. Talk about what the first draft looked like. So it's definitely going to be a fun conversation, and hopefully it'll be fun for you as well. It's fun for me. The book, you see my little notes. I try not to do too many notes because it's just too many notes makes it it's not authentic to me, and also it can make me forget things that I do want to touch on. So if I'm too focused on my notes, then I'm so constricted in the information I'm giving you all. So we are definitely not going to have a whole script here. So bear with me, but also enjoy. Let's just talk to each other. If you read the book, let's talk. Put your comments in. I'm going to make sure I'm keeping an eye on the comments. But let's dig in. I need to see. I'm so unused to using the webcam. I don't know where to look. Okay. I'm trying to see should I look at myself or should I look up to the camera? Okay, so I'm gonna read the back of the book. I know you all probably have heard the back of the book forever and never ever. But I'm gonna go through it really quick. Yeah, I'm gonna go through it really quick, just in case some people didn't read the back of the book, even though you shouldn't be here if you didn't read the back of the book, because that means you didn't read it, and I don't want to ruin the reading experience for you all. So it says, well, actually, you know what? I don't even need to read the back of the book because those who are here should have read it. But let me just do a generalized. We are starting out singing. I'm jumping ahead to the book. Well, no, forget that. See, I can't stay on top of it. I was about to say the book I'm writing, but I don't want to get there. I'm getting far ahead of myself. Let me focus on this book. But this book is starts at the. I don't read the book. At Virtuous Academy, a boarding school for the supernatural, the students are not your average high schoolers. Though they might go through some of the same social problems, These students are powerful and many dangerous. From vampires, witches, werewolves, and werecats, these youngsters must learn how to navigate classes and other species who might on the outside of campus be a natural enemy. Versus Academy's walls are going to be shaken up this year as they never have before. Not only do the walls have to contend with two young sophomore witches, Natalie King and Alexandra Release, who despise each other so much so that they constantly wage war on the infrastructure, and there's a monster on the loose, killing students. So, will these two witches who once were best friends rekindle that friendship in time to help each other through all that's about to hit them this year, or will they fail to unite even after a mutual friend of theirs is captured by the same monster killing students? So, the towards the end of that, that's the most important part is these two who are from enemy covens, who used to be best friends, have to figure out how to deal with lives outside of campus, but also each other, because their mutual friend now is taken by the monster, and without them two working together, who knows the outcome? But we know the outcome because we're going to be talking about it. So again, if you haven't read this, you're about to hear everything. So these two, well, beyond the characters, we'll talk about the characters in a second. Let's focus on the generalization of the story. This story came to me, I say it over and over, it came to me in a dream. One of the scenes of Natalie being attacked after that party where these guys come up and, pretty much, she's alone in the woods walking back to her dorm and she gets attacked. And Alex saves her. Queen bee of the school, the badass, powerful witch, she comes, swoops in, and she saves the day. But she ends up killing this shapeshifter. It was a shapeshifter. It wasn't multiple people. It was just the illusion. And I got it. I'll tidbit, all the spoilers and information. I thought about it, on, I might be a little geek, Dragon Ball Z, what's his name, Tien, who's able to, his core ability, he's able to split into multiple people, multiple parts of himself. I hope y'all know what I'm talking about, or I'm just, I'm showing my other side. I love that. I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Okay, but that was it's interesting to me. Okay. But then what else about that? So it's just what was I talking about? What was I talking about? Okay. Oh, how I came up with the story idea. So I had a dream about that particular scene, and it came about. It was a rainy day, and it was raining. The scene, Natalie. It wasn't actually the final version. She's on campus. She's leaving a party. She's on her way to her dorm, and then she gets attacked by the shapeshifter. But originally in the outline, it was actually outlined in the dream. She was somewhere in the street, just, it was a street city. She was in the city. And she was walking from somewhere. I don't know. I can't remember if I had it. It's not in the outline, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't in my dream. But I had it that she was walking in the street. She was walking, going somewhere, and a couple of these guys she walked past, and they were human in the regular outline in the beginning in the dream. And rainy day, she got her hood on. She's trying to get home, and sickos, they just saw her, saw that she was easy prey, what they thought, and they attacked her. They was trying to you know, they attacked her, but Alexandra comes in, and she comes out of nowhere, like, oh, she comes through the fog, darkness in the rain. She comes through, and it was so dramatic in my mind. It was so theatrical. And she comes in, and she's, fighting the guys, and she has a sword that is a blade, but the blade, it's a magical blade, so it can elongate into a sword, which is awesome. And I used it a couple of times in the book and also throughout the whole series. You can see it right here, her sword. She's awesome. But anyway, so she comes, saves the day. She kills one of the guys. Um, that's doggy dog eat world. Her whole mindset is these men were attacking you, and then attacking me, and they weren't innocent. They not holding back, so why should I hold back? So kill to be killed. But Natalie, in my dream, she's just shocked. She's in shock from the situation, and also because Alex killed someone. And she goes through the whole that's also part of the final version, this scene of her just like, wow, this is Alex, this girl who I'm enemies with, but I used to be best friends. So I'm torn between seeing her. I'm torn with my emotions, um my feelings towards this person who saved me, and also about what they did in order to save me. They had to kill someone in order to save my life. So so she doesn't thank her. She, pretty much runs away, and they don't speak to each other right away until they get to school. But it was that scene that started everything. I woke up and I just wrote that scene out, and I kept writing it. And then the next day I was writing more details, and then I went from all the way back to the beginning of the book, and I was writing outline, writing everything, details, going through my process of details. And I continued to have different dreams about different scenes within the book. So this novel I wrote so quickly, and one of my most detailed novels, which is why I was able to quickly write the sequel, because I had so much details. I had so much plotted about the world that I created. Um, but that scene, beyond just the detail on the scene, which started everything, the idea, the conflict that Natalie had in that scene, in that moment, really solidified what I wanted their relationship to be, and what focus I wanted to bring to the story of morality and right and wrong, on what will you do when you are pushed. Even though, well, I guess I don't want to say Alex is evil, but I guess it's the evil and good, light, dark, and it's just focusing on that aspect, on from that scene, survival. And even though Natalie is good and someone was killed in front of her, she's thankful for her life. She's not like, oh, you killed someone. I'm so disappointed in you. I wish you would have let them kill me, rape me, kill me. It's like, no, I'm happy. I'm alive, even though this person is dead. So it also is a stepping stone for Natalie to change her view about the world. The world isn't just light, dark. The world isn't just black and white. And also to see Alex in a new light as well, kind of. and she fights it along the way. You all read the book, you know. She fights it, and she fights being able to see Alex in a different way because she associates Alex with darkness, and her coven doesn't help matters either. You know, Alex coven is evil, is very dark, so it doesn't really help. It doesn't really help Alex's case that she's not evil because her coven is pretty much evil, and a lot of things that she does in loyalty to her coven and her mom is very dark. Like she's killing people. Oh, so yeah, she I think people can understand why Natalie is very hesitant to trust Alex again. Um, you know, she's not a little kid anymore. She understands better about what things are going on. Things can't be hidden from her anymore. Um, but before we go into the characters, let me think anything else just about this story in general. Before we go, I like to start off going deep into the characters. The story, anything with the story, anything else that was different. Okay, so that's pretty much generalized the story. I think we all, you know, read the blurb and understand just the story in general. So let's do the characters. I actually have the original outline. I don't know other writers and authors who are watching. If you all save all your stuff, I love to save my old outlines, my drafts. I save like all my edits from just beginning edits to the other draft to the other. Um, so I have in my draft. Let's talk about the draft version of Natalie King. I have that she's 15 at the beginning, then 16. I put her date of birth is December. So in the beginning draft, I didn't put a date. It was just December. But later on in the final draft of the novel, I put December the 7th. I don't even remember how I came up with the date, but I just put December the 7th. Excuse me. And then I put a picture of her that I think might end up being how she looks like. I love doing that. It's back from my role playing days on role playing on the computer. I love when I do the details for the characters to look up actresses and actors who might resemble the character that's in my head. So I love doing that, and I put down this picture I found. You know, it's kind of girly, but it's also kind of a little swag to it. I put let's see if I can say her name. Macy Richardson. So it's Maisie Richardson. So you all can look her up. But I know y'all say, oh, she's so older. She's much older. But no, I wasn't focusing on that. I was focusing on one of the images. She looks kind of young in the image. She looked like she, and the image that I'm thinking, the image I picked out and I put one here. I wish I can put it up on the video and stuff like that, but I told y'all before, I'm not a good editor. I'm not going to do it. But one of the pictures, when y'all Google it, y'all see some of the pictures. She looks very young. And just the skin complexion, the outfit, the hair, the curly, the hair and everything. She definitely looked how I envisioned Natalie to look. But I also there's also other actresses that I learned about later on that could also play Natalie very well. So definitely there's other actresses as well. So okay, let me keep going. I put down she's a witch, a born witch, and just touching on this pretty quickly because we're also going to discuss the species, go into that detail. But briefly, I say she's a born witch, and this is an important thing I wrote down on my notes because also in this world, you can also have, muggles. You would have somebody who is not magically born, does not have any magical powers, but they are human, and they can still do like little spells. They can put ingredients and different artifacts together and do a spell, or they can do a ritual. So you definitely don't have to have magical powers. Because also, some of the you know in the book you have like vampires, you have different people, um, also species that can perform magic, and you don't have to be a witch. So we're going to get into that, and I think that's going to be really fun to get into. It's fun for me because any story I do, I really love to dig really deep into the character, do so much detail on the character, species, depending on the genre or the setting, the world. Um, I'm very focused on doing that before I go into the plot and what different scenes I want to write, different things like that. Um, and I think because of all the details I do, it really helps me to write the next book faster. I put down she's a sophomore in high school. I put down she wants to be a lawyer and change laws to help humans and special people like her coexist. So she really wants to be someone to help bridge the gap between the supernatural and the human world. I put down that she is sporty but also girly. She loves a good party, but she also gets great grades. She's definitely straight A's, um, and she loves sports. So I put in the I was very generalized in the outline, sporting. But in the book, you'll see that she wanted to try out for the basketball team. Second novel, she does join the basketball team, and also with the first book, she's running track. She's um, and I believe there's a volleyball scene as well. Uh, yeah, I think that was it for the sports in the first book. And then also like girly, so she's definitely rocking the heels. She'll wear some expensive clothes and girly, and definitely will have that look that kind of fancy appearance, but she also wants to wear her sneakers and get dirty, get her hands dirty. Uh, but definitely, I try to do the balance. There's no cotillions in here. I didn't go that far. I didn't put her, presenting herself to the to society. But she is rich. Her ancient coven, a lot of wealth, a lot of money, and her mom is in. I put it in the notes that her mom is a town mayor, but we know from reading that her mom is beyond that. Her mom is, supernatural liaison to the human world. She is, having meetings with the president of the United States, with the state's governor. She is just awesome. And I also did put her mom's name, Samantha. I have put that later on, but she comes from and even towards the human eye, she comes from a a family of influence. So she definitely dresses the part because that's who she is. She definitely is upper class. Let's see what else. And then I have that she wanted to be a chef at one point. We touch a little on that in the book. One of my one of the scenes that I enjoy after her and her and Eleanor had a little sneaky hookup. um, that was such bad timing because it was the full moon coming out. So Eleanor, who is still at this time controlling her wolf side, is starts to shift starts to shift while they're making out. It's like, come on now. But Alex, once again, she comes in to save the day, even though Natalie's like, I didn't need your help. I had everything under control. I was chaining up my girlfriend myself. So, but after that, when they are back on campus and they run into each other on because they're in the same floor, dormitory floor, so their rooms are almost so close to each other. So they run into each other, and they while they were talking to each other, Alice was like, yeah, she smells cooking up in there from Natalie's dorm room, and you get some information about Natalie and how she enjoys cooking, and just another moment to put in how kind of how close they were. Alice like, yeah, I remember your cooking and um, stuff. Um, I'm not gonna go to the page. I'm not gonna read every single scene, um, even though I'm gushing over my own work. I don't want to keep y'all here all day long. I want to focus on giving you all the deeds, all the secret stuff and info. But what else did I put about Natalie? Put she was bisexual. Also African American. I put that her father was a famous brain surgeon, but left his job to start a clinic with a best friend who was a great heart surgeon. The clinic was a safe place for all human, or else what? Gaines didn't start trouble there, but still her father was murdered leaving the clinic. No one knows why. So this is, again, first draft. Those who read know that he didn't die leaving the clinic. He did. He was murdered, but he didn't die. He wasn't murdered leaving the clinic. So that was a little detail that changed. And also, I'm pretty sure I didn't put in the book about his best friend, the heart surgeon. And then I put more details about the clinic. The clinic is so important in each book. So I'm not going to go into that yet because that's not a character. Though I think I could put it as a character. I'll talk about it at the end of when I finish all the main characters. I'll talk about the clinic because that's a lot of details to talk about. So the next character, the main character, Alexandra, really is put down the first draft. She just turned 16. Then later on in the book, she turned 17. And her day of birth, I put July. So I wasn't doing details. And her birthday isn't talked about in the first book. In the second book behind me, it's talked about. We celebrate her birthday in the second novel. So then I put the image as well. One of the images, this model with the horse. So if you look her up, that's the image I was thinking of. The model is in front of a horse, and she has a black dress on. Again, I know the ages, okay. But the model's name is Anis Molly, Anais Molly. That model, definitely first draft. That's who I saw when I saw that picture. That was elegant, and it just seemed kind of powerful at the same time. So that is what that is the model. When I was doing my Google searching, that is who that image with her in the black dress in front of the horse. That's who I saw as Alessandra, aka Alex. So going on to the notes, I put that she's a witch, a born witch. Again, it's important. I put that her mother is a feared gang leader, but the ignorant people know her as a wealthy lawyer living off of her family enterprise. When she's bored, she'll use her law degree to get important clients out of jail. But she is founder and CEO of multiple companies. So I'm over here to get all these details about her mom within her own bio. So, okay, so this is about, okay, let me finish reading down. Most money gained by the weapons, most money she gets is by the weapons industry. And behind the scenes is the underworld. So I put her mom's bio pretty much in here. So her mother, I didn't put her mom's name here. Um, but in the final draft, her mom's name is Brenda. I put Brenda for her name. So Brenda Aurelius. And her coven, oh, well, begin quickly, Natalie's coven, King coven. So that's just reinforcing that, it's a bloodline coven, it's an ancient coven, it's a king coven. It's not, Natalie didn't join in, she didn't get married then. Um, it's her bloodline. So also with Alex, her coven name is Aurelius Coven, her last name. So it is her bloodline. Okay, go back. So her mom. That my first notes were her mom's bio, basically, but it also gives information about Alex too, because you know that Alex is the heir to everything. So heir to that, the weapons dealings, the underground world business, the drug operated, the drug operations, also the companies that her mom owns. So she's over here powerful. In her own right, Alex is very powerful beyond her mom, but pretty much because of her mom. And we'll get into that as well within who Alex is. Okay. One bad thing about life, I can't pause. Okay. So I put that Alex likes and hates her life. She rather the companies go legit, but knows you have to get your hands a bit dirty and enjoy the political warfare. And she's good at it. So even though she wishes, the companies will go legit, she also enjoys the political warfare, and she understands that you have to get a bit dirty. Your enemies aren't going to play fair. It is what it is. She understands that there's a lot of evil in the world, good, human or otherwise, and you have to be powerful in order not to get your head chopped off. Okay. So I also put down that, yeah, she is good at it. But the underground drugs and weapons she hates. So she loves her life, but she also hates it. From early on as a kid, when she's climbing up to Natalie's bedroom to escape, when they were kids and eating pancakes and, living their little children lives. She from very early on, she did not enjoy the things that were going on around her in her coven. She definitely was the black sheep, I guess, of her family in a different type of way. She didn't want to kill. She didn't want to deal with the drugs. She didn't want to, manipulate and torture people. Um, and then I put down that she really likes Natalie, the first person who showed her kindness, not knowing who she was at the time. So it was genuine. It wasn't out of fear or her mother buying her a new friend, or even after finding out who she was. Nat gave her a chance. So when she lost that kindness and trust, it hurt more than she let on. So she secretly wants that good light back in her life, but her emotions change and she doesn't care about Nat. At least she doesn't want to. So this is a really, really big paragraph. So heavy because that's really it's so much of that in this book of them joining back together, them becoming best friends again, and also the influence they have with each other. So it's you know, depending on how deep you read into this book, everything that happens, even when the parents are doing their own different plotting stuff, everything is entwined into their relationship. You know, whether it's the enemy relationship, friendship relationship, whatever. It really is connecting to them. Um, so when it says that Natalie is the first person who showed her kindness, not knowing who she was, that it was genuine, that you have a flashback in the first novel of Alex, trying to run away from her home. And it was the summer home. So during the summer, they rich. They got summer homes and by some lake. And they go there. Both families have homes not too far from each other. So they go there during the summertime to, vacation. So Alex, is always seeing Natalie and her family. She's like, oh, I'm so envious. They look so happy. They look happy together. And I'm not. My family's crazy. They look so peaceful over there. So one night, because she witnessed her mom dealing out some harsh punishment, some killing, some torturing. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of sex and drug, like just craziness going on in her household. So she escapes, she runs, and she goes to the other house. Um, so this little kid is running over to this other house, and she climbs up. And I'm smiling because those who read the second book as well, you'll know about the tree. So she climbs up this tree. She breaking in, and she gets into this house, into Natalie's bedroom. And at first she's trying to hide, but she gets caught by Natalie and by Nat. And Nat is just like, oh, a new friend. She's like, she ain't like scared, she's confident. From a little kid, she's confident. She's like, oh, who are you? Hi, is everything okay? She's already so genuine. She cares about Nat. I mean, about Alex from the beginning. And she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know her name in the beginning because Alex doesn't want to tell her. She's scared. So they develop a friendship quickly. But it's so important because Alex is living this harsh life where everything's just darkness. But Nat and her family are light. They're good. So when it's also in my notes is it's not out of she's not friends with her because she fears her mom or because her mom bought her a new friend. Nat doesn't know anything about Alex's parents. In the beginning, they don't really understand each other's covens. They understand that their family are enemies. They don't understand anything like that. So now he's just like, I like you. You're my friend. I want to be your friend. Even though I don't know your mom is cuckoo. I don't know your mom can easily kill me. Well, she can't easily kill her because Natalie got a strong ass parents. But I just mean that, Brenna is a murderous witch. She's crazy. So Brenda easily can threaten someone and make them be nice to her daughter or pay and slave by a slave a servant. And you see that dynamic with Olivia and Ella, who are close friends with Alex. So you learn those dynamics later on. So it's very important that we see that Alex has that relationship that is separate from her family. So Olivia, just quickly, Olivia, her mom, her parents are partners, allies with Brenda. So Brenda, because these two powerful families are, working together, their children, you know, are friends or forced to be friends. So Brenda definitely kind of arranged that Olivia is a friend, but originally Olivia was pretty much like a bodyguard, you know. Um, and a lot of that mentality shows a lot throughout the book, that even though they're best friends, it's still hard to not have that. I don't really want to say master servant relationship, because I think it's more than that at this point, but it's still like Alex is the boss. She's the boss. So, but she's the boss because of who her mom is. So Olivia and Alex's relationship didn't start off genuine, like, oh, we're just friends, we like each other, we don't know who each other are. It was our parents put us together, and you're the boss. Your mom's the boss of my parents, you're the boss of me. And then with Eleanor, aka Ella, her mom, Brenda, Alex's mom, bought Ella. So even though, again, because Alice isn't completely evil and crazy, she is able to make friends. So even though her mom bought Ella for her as a servant, friend, servant, bodyguard, whatever, um, she's like, okay, I understand the dynamics of our relationship, but I'm not going to just treat you solely that way. We're going to be friends, and their relationship. Um, you around somebody for so long, you end up finding other things in common with each other. So you learn the different dynamics of Alex's friend circle, and you realize, damn, she don't have nobody in her friend circle that is friends with her, that has nothing to do with who she is, who her family is. The only person who don't give a damn about who Alex's family is Natalie. So it's definitely something that she regrets losing, that friendship, and also that kindness. So in notes that, I put in the notes that Nat gave her a chance. So when she lost that kindness and that trust, it hurts more than she lets on. That a lot of her anger, and these two characters, they really, have a conversation about what happened. They end up, becoming friends in the first book. They try to rekindle their friendship. But it's not until the second novel that they really talk and say, what happened to us? Why did this happen? And is one of my favorite lines is in the second novel, but we ain't there yet. And I'm going to get to that novel too, so I'm not going to say it now, just because I need content for that video. But yeah, I think a lot of lashing out, a lot of the anger that Alex feels towards Natalie is because Natalie took something from her. Even though she might have a good reason on that, possibly not, it wasn't Alex's fault. They stopped being friends because Alex took her and her friends to, drag racing. And one of Natalie's best friends got behind the wheel, and he decided he was going to drag race too. And, in Natalie's mind, he wouldn't have been there to die if it wasn't for you bringing us here. So she just blamed Alex. You're this darkness, this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. And just nonsense, it wasn't Alex's fault. But it was something, it was an accident. But for her, for Natalie, at the time, her emotions. She just reacted based on her emotions. And being kids, they didn't work it out. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't do what they needed to do to fix the situation. But you see in the second book, it explains what actually happened. Like, okay, it explains that, I'll go in details later, but just generalize, it explains that, some calls were made, that a lot of this was just miscommunication. A lot of this prolonged hurt was like stubbornness and a lot of stubbornness. So I'll discuss it in the other book. But Natalie taking her friendship, her light away from Alex, um, was what really hurt her and really made her lash out. And the snowball effect was her mom and her Alex's mom and Alex's coven, who are just evil and darkness, surrounded Alex, and Alex didn't have a balance. She didn't have no more light. She didn't have Natalie's family to give her balance to help her to fight off this darkness. So she kind of, right or wrong, she kind of blames Natalie, because if it weren't for Natalie, she might have been able to live a different life. She might have been saved. Like, she looked at Natalie and her family as saviors, and they didn't save her. They didn't save her from herself. They didn't save her from her mom, from her coven, from all the darkness that ended up molding her into who she is. So she has a lot of resentment, but as the book story goes on, you also see that even though she's like, hate you, like, you never, you know, you left me, almost like you left me to this evil, to the evil that ended up consuming me. I am who I am because of you. Like, you can't say you don't like who I am because you helped create me, almost. It's like, but but yeah, that power that they have over each other really transforms and pushes some pivotal points of the story. So they work together, end up, defeating the monster. They end up solving. I'm over here pausing like this ain't supposed to be filled with spoilers. They end up solving who created the monster. They ended up figuring out that Brenda, Alex's mom, evil mom, crazy lady, was over here being a mad scientist, and they ended up stopping her. But because of their friendship ended up helping Natalie to solve who her father's murderer is. Because Alex ends up helping her to confront this person. She ends up also helping um, her to solve her father's murder and to get revenge, or justice, and also helping her to see the world isn't black and white. So that those two things really help Natalie to really understand her power, her strength, and to also make new friends. So then also their relationship affects Alex as well in the story, with being able to stand up to her mom, being able to take her mom down. This person is so loyal to her mom and her coven, but having Natalie back in her life is giving her the light and the courage to say no to evil, and to say no to her mom, and to bring her mom down. So also the which also it changes the plot. So her mom is plotting to, like, be queen of the world, almost, like, to take over and do stuff. In Hamilton, who we're going to get into, his parents are trying to, like, be top dog and take over and world domination, all this other stuff. But these like this little plotting that's going on, it gets stopped because of their rekindled relationship, because of them coming together and bring their friend circle together. They're able to stop all this stuff that's going on. And then so their friendship is so important to what's going on because everything is happening because of them. And then because they weren't friends, it allowed their different sides to try to use them to get more powerful. So it's like either way, if they're friends or not friends, there are people, especially their parents, sickos, that are using their hate for each other or their love for each other. They're using that to get powerful. So there's a lot that depends on them too. Um, okay, I'm going into relationships. I'm supposed to be focusing on characters. Okay, let me go back. Okay, I'm going to focus. So again, in my notes, go back to my notes. So, and this was okay. So this didn't happen in this novel. This was something that I completely scrapped. But it says that we're still on Alex's character. So we're on notes about Alex's character. So it says that Alex secretly hooks up with Hamilton as payment for a deal to save Nat's dead father's clinic from Hamilton's father's plans of gang war, and in doing so, help kill the father, Hamilton's father, giving Hamilton more power over his family's business and her territories that will impress her mother and give her side, her group of friends, um, those unprotected territories. Excuse me. Oh no, her coven. I'm sorry. And also give her side, so her coven, those unprotected territories they wanted for a while. So it also saying, too bad for her mother. She is too cunning and smart. So Alex doesn't hand over the new acquired blocks of territory to her mother. No, she keeps them for herself and builds a casino slash hotel so she can have her own money and power. So it's a lot going on in this paragraph. So it says in the beginning that she secretly hooks up with Hamilton as payment for a deal to save Nat's dead father's clinic from Hamilton's father. So these two kids are plotting against their parents. Um, but this didn't happen in the final version because I'm like, mm-mm. And we know that Alex is a lesbian, so it didn't. For some readers, it wouldn't have made sense for her to hook up with Hamilton. He's not a girl, but um, part of the sickness of the family is that she would do anything for her coven, for power. And she's used to doing that, sadly. It is pretty well hinted at, and I'm not sure if I just boldly mention, if I just say it, while she and Natalie are at the cafe, um, her husband, they were really over here flirting. I ain't gonna get into that because that's more book two. I ain't gonna get into it. I was trying to go to the cafe part to see if they did go ahead and if Natalie talked about it or not. Probably not. But anyway, I ain't gonna get into it. If you read it, you read it. If not, read it on what page. I don't think I mentioned in detail. Cause I try not to do too much detail during certain topics, but yeah, the reason they pretended to date, fake dating. I enjoyed that trope. Was because Brenda wanted to pimp Alex out. She wanted Alex to pretend that, she's in love with, I believe his name is Devin. She wanted Alex to persuade Devin to influence his father to do a $1 million deal with Brenda. So their power plays have no restrictions. They just go for it. So it is very in character for her to have tried to make this arrangement. But I didn't want to anger anyone. And also, I didn't really in the beginning, because this is just the outline. In the beginning, this was more like there are teen characters, and I really didn't want to push too much. I didn't want to push too far on subject matter because I knew some teens might read this. But it was so much that I just couldn't take out. So I definitely try not to say this is a young adult novel. That genre is so hard to just to really pin down age group, because then we have new adult genre, and a lot of people are on the side of is young adult is early teens, but other people say it can be all the way up until 21. I'm like, what, 21? And then some say 18, 19, young adult. And it's so hard. It is really hard to pick your genre. I don't like saying this novel is a young adult novel because I think this book is more, I would say comfortably 16, but probably 17 up. Definitely the sequel, I say, is rated R. So, but I knew, I read whatever I wanted to read when I was younger, and it didn't really bother me. But yeah, I didn't put it's not in the final version. You all have read the book. Hopefully, you all here who read the book, and you know that she does not hook up with Hamilton, whether it's for payment or not. But I kind of wanted to keep it in there because it shows how far Alex will go for Natalie. And it's just her father, we all know that the clinic was a big point of the story because Brenna's mom and also Hamilton's parents, they all want the treaty. They all want to control the clinic because the clinic is such a powerful place for the supernatural community of that state of Rhode Island. And it will give them a whole lot of power, and also it will give them the means to kind of run wild if that's not there. So Alex really wanted to keep it away from Hamilton's parents, but also she wanted to keep it away from them because it's Nat's father's clinic. It's something very important to Natalie, so she didn't want that to happen. But we didn't get into that in this novel. We didn't get into it. But that was a really big part. And a lot of you are probably like, oh, I'm so glad you didn't have them hook up. I felt that it was probably going to be too much of a touchy subject matter with because I was already doing a whole lot of adult stuff in the book, but also with her being a lesbian, it was probably going to be too much to have her doing that. So it was just like, no, I'm just going to avoid it. But also I did though, but also it was showing that because of the deal she would make with him to save Natalie's father's clinic, in that arrangement, she will also gain she would gain territories within there because she's not saving the clinic and then just like handing off the net. You know, like she's going to save the clinic, but she's also during the meantime is going to take over the territories within the safe zone. So she wanted that area. Um, but she wanted to really impress her mom, pretty much. She wanted to impress her by taking over, by saying, look, I'm strong. I ain't no little kid. You know, I'm not dependent on you. I have my own power. I have my own crew. And I think that was very important to show her cunning side and her intellect, and also show her stepping into her own power that's outside of her mom's power. So I did, those who read, she did end up getting her own casino slash hotel, Athens. Um, she's huge on Greek mythology. She loves Greek mythology. So that's why she named the casino that. Um, so she ends up making that power move, which pisses off her mom. Her mom is not happy with her, but she ends up doing that, and so now she has a source of money and power. Okay, so let's move on to another character, Eleanor, aka Ella. When we first introduced to her, she's 15, and I didn't put anything about her date of birth. And she's a werewolf, and she's close friends with Alexandra. And I put that she dates slash hooks up with Natalie for a while. Her image, I really liked Amelia D. Raven. Amelie D. Raven. Ravine, I don't know. But she was a girl from Lost, and she also played Belle in Once Upon a Time TV show. But the image I chose of her was when she was blonde during the TV show Lost, like that many years ago. But it just fits Ella's whole look. And then we have. Wait a minute, gotta go all the way up there. I'm scrolling. Um, so then we also have Sheila Gray. She's 16. I didn't put any images for everybody, so Sheila doesn't have one, but she is a Salem witch. She dark hair girl, African American, mahogany cheeks, freckles on her cheeks. And then I have Olivia. I didn't put her last name here, but in the book, her last name ends up being Richards. She's 16. I didn't put who she looks like. I didn't put any images for her. So I don't know what she looks like. But I put that she's kind of I put question mark. I said no idea. LOL. Long hair and sporty question mark. Not very girly. I didn't know anything about Olivia. And some of the characters, I kind of want the readers to be able to envision what these characters look like too. So I put that she's a vampire, and I put that she's into sports. She's on a basketball team, the Phoenix Knights. That's what the basketball team is called, the Phoenix Knights. And I put extra activities. I put part of the extra activities protecting Alexandra. That's her life, protecting Alex. And then I have Leslie Bennett. She's 15 and she's a Phoenix. And I did put some descriptions about her appearance. I put that she has deep blue eyes that have sparks in them at times. She could change her eye color. She fits mainly with her deep blue eyes and a forest green. And she has red hair. And then we already talked about Eleanor. Okay, quickly, two more characters. Oh, Lord, more than two. Three more characters. Sorry, y'all. And then we have Author Bill. And y'all like, who the hell is Author? It's Arnold. I changed his name. It was Author Bill, but I changed it to Author. Oh, gosh. I changed it to Arnold. So, Arnold has a whole lot of names. So, in the first draft, it was Author. And I put down he was 16. We ended up changing that. You all know we changed that. If y'all read the second book, he turned 16 in the second book, so he can't be 16 in the first book. And he's bald headed. He has a bald head. He bleeds blue blood. He wears gloves almost 100% of the time to prevent him from seeing people's future. So his species is a, see if I can pronounce my own creative licenses. Ardius, a species I made up. So he's like a seer. Um, so his species, at the touch, because he's young, he's learning his abilities. He has to touch someone in order to kind of see the future, see their future. Sometimes it's a few hours, sometimes it's a few days that he's able to see ahead of time. But his powers grow as the book continue, as the book develops the story, and then also in the second novel, his powers are growing. And then we see that he is a student, but he is, as you all know, a secret member of the High Order, a order who deals with supernatural threats and is the police of the supernatural world. They are right below the oracles, who are the supreme being of all. And then, um, well, I was about to talk about the Order of Light, but that's also dealing with the structure of the world. So, moving on, we have Julian. Who doesn't love Julian? He's 17, and I put that he looks like a young Trevor Jackson. So Julian is 17. He's a succubus. Um, and he is friends with Alex and Olivia and Eleanor. And then lastly, our friend Marcus Hamilton. So in my notes, he originally was named Alexander Hamilton, and I didn't want to. It was too many A's. Because also Hamilton's mom is another A, I think Alexia or something like that. So I changed his name from Alexander Hamilton to Marcus Hamilton, but he mainly goes by Hamilton, as you see in the book. So he's 17 when we first meet him, and then he turns 18. And I say he looks like Jordan Calloway. Those who watch Black Lightning, he's in there. I forget the character's name, his character's name in that TV show. So I put that he mainly wears like suits, all dapper. He mainly like business casual. Or when he does dress down, you still can tell he's like upper class. And he knows his fashion even when he's dressing down. He's a vampire. He definitely killer. He's from a very powerful vampire family. I put a little tab in here for Hamilton. Hamilton right here, my little notes. So I put this little note thing here because it really talks about him and his family. That talks about the golden throne that they have bearing a lion's head as his armrest on either side. And Hamilton, their ancestor is Hamilton the Great. So Hamilton the Great, he had two Salem witches who forged this throne for him. And because he killed them before they died, they put a curse on him to be bound to his madness. So his madness will be passed down to his descendants. So you get an idea of why this family is crazy, because there's a curse on them that they just can't get away from their madness. Um, so I thought that was a little fun fact. But also, um, I'm trying to remember if I discussed it, if I said this before, but they, oh, is this in there or is it right here, my little note? That's also why I put it. Hold on. And do I have it here? I probably don't. I probably was thinking of it and I didn't put it in because I didn't want to go too far. Okay, so I there's a story. I was focused on like historical. So his original name was Alexander, as I mentioned, Alexander Hamilton, and it was based off of the real like Alexander Hamilton. And Marcus Hamilton, he's African American. So I put his name. I was trying to like twist history and say that Alexander Hamilton of America history. Y'all gonna have to just Google him. I put that he ended up being a vampire and that he had Negro blood in him, and it ended up it didn't make the book. So yeah, I had to change that up a little. So Marcus Hamilton is just psycho. I think you all will pretty much agree. Um, okay, so let me get out of this. So that's the characters. So that's the characters. So let's discuss species. Just real quick, we'll talk about the different species, main ones. We have the vampires, we have werewolves, werecats, phoenixes. We have Hamilton. Let's say Hamilton. We have Arnold. His species is seers. And then we also have, I said werewolves and phoenixes, werecats, werewolves, vampires. And then the second book we is heavily demons. I'm not going to talk too much about demons because we don't talk about that in the second book. But vampires, very different. Well, not very different in my book, but kind of different. So the fangs are elongated. They're not like they're more underworld fangs, not true blood fangs. Also, eye color changes. Can't really go out in the sun, etc. But also, they can't really be killed very easily. They can be killed by explosions, depending on how their age. Also, head being chopped off, heart ripped out, in direct sunlight. But for some vampires, they are able to use magic. They can, get daylight rings, or they can use a certain type of makeup I created that is called. Right. So Soleil Solis. So it's I don't have to do Google Translate, but it's a in the book it's a lotion that vampires use to walk in the daylight, to protect their skin from burning. But also very rich and powerful vampires can get daylight rings, but they're not easy to come by. So yeah, my vampires. A lot of people might be reading it, might have been like, They over here in the daylight, they just chilling, walking around in the daylight. No, remember, I'm not going to say every single time they go out into the daylight. I'm not going to mention it every single time. But they have the makeup, the lotion, and they also have the daylight ring. So if a vampire in my book is walking around in the daylight, you could assume one of those two things is going on. And also in my world, vampires can be born. And you're like, it's like, what? No, that's not possible. Vampires can't be born. And it's like, yeah, they can. In my world, it's my book. But I put that vampires can be born. That the vampires are a result of a virus, not being dead or demons. They're not demon. Is a I'm kind of focusing on the lore that it's a virus. But also that it is very rare for a vampire birth. So I'm not going all crazy with it. So a pregnant woman who gets bit, fed vampire blood, it will affect her fetus as well. Also, a male and female bodies are changed when transforming, being affected, so their ability to have children is drastically dropped, but not impossible. That those that are born purebloods, while those that are turned from a bite are considered half breeds. So if you're born a vampire, you're considered a pureblood. If you're not, you're a half breed, or um, some purists out there. There are purists in even the supernatural community. Let's see. Also with vampires, I put my little notes. Also with vampires, they have different abilities. So some, well, all they have claws. Vampires in my book have claws, but some, like Russell, who is from a ancient vampire bloodline, his claws glow. So it's excuse me. His claws glow, and it signifies that he is from a certain ancient vampire bloodline. Also, Hamilton, psychopath. His claws. He also has venom on his claws. So a lot of well, no, I'm not gonna say a lot. In my book, I'm focused on my vampire lore. Their claws can have venom, and it doesn't necessarily always kill. It just depends on the vampire's strength, also on how much is on there at the time. It can cause, hallucinations, paralysis. It can cause a lot of pain. So it just depends. And, they also have, the generic abilities, supernatural strength, speed, hearing, some of the basic things that are with every vampire. That was kind of aggressive. Then we have quickly, let's keep going. Vampire children born will age through kind of adulthood, maybe around 20-ish. Their physical bodies don't change. Remember, these are my outline notes from the very beginning. Also, some are not able to easily turn others, like the Hamiltons. It's very hard for them to transfer the virus to transform a human, because their bite kills more times than that. So that's also another reason why they really are like, we need power, we need to keep recruiting, because we're not very successful at turning people. So then you also have, I put that they do have a heartbeat and a reflection, because again, my whole premise is they're not dead. It's just some type of virus, some type of magical stuff going on. Then I already said, they have super strength, all, etc. And some can teleport. Um, some can do mind control, and super healing. So werewolves, in here, um, even though some might say, "Oh yeah, it's like Game of Thrones," they're like dire wolves. They're big, but they're not like um, Twilight huge. They're not like that. Um, but they're bigger than. Well, no, because and okay, I'm not gonna say that because even though we saw Snow we didn't see him go humongous, I don't think, but we saw Ari. I haven't really seen the thing, but we saw one of the I forget what's his name or her name. What was that wolf's name? We saw actually get huge. Um, so yeah, I got the inspiration from Game of Thrones wolves, but those werewolves are that big. They get big. So also they age extremely slow to the point where their physical appearance doesn't change that much right off the bat. A werewolf can be 300 years old and not look like it. Werewolves are shifting starts with puberty. Also put wolves have a human and a wolf form. Can't eat human food, but also eat animals and people. Their venom and the canines is dangerous for vampires. So I kept that whole werewolves and vampires are enemies. They're deadly to each other. Depending on the age of the werewolf and the vampire, their venom isn't deadly to a vampire, but it can be. But it will cause serious side effects, enormous pain, etc. What else? Weakness, pure silver. I did put that there. Yeah. I try to add some stuff that's unique, but I also kind of stuck to some of the generalized, supernatural lore. Weaknesses, pure silver, damage to their hearts and brains, and etc. They shift only on a full moon, but some with age and training can retain their humanity on a full moon, and they can shift beyond a full moon depending on their strength. So the outline said they can only shift on a full moon. You all know by reading the books that that's not true. I changed that up a little. They can be born and made. And then, I forgot I said this. But I don't think it affects the book yet because I didn't have any of the werewolves try to turn anyone. So I guess I can remember this for the future. But I forgot I wrote this, that when trying to make a werewolf through like biting them from it, infecting them, that many humans die in pain while some do survive the process. It has to be done by an elder. So it has to be done by an elder with a very, I guess, powerful older wolf. Only they can infect a human. Huh. I didn't even, I forgot I had wrote that part. And then werewolves usually stay in packs, communities for survival, but modern ones feel they don't need to. But many they are pack animals. And then I also put down. Am I still recording? I'm going to keep talking, even though I see a little note saying your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try to reconnect. I'm just gonna keep running my mouth. Werewolves do not change in genitalia. So no chicks are sprouting penises out of nowhere. I know a lot of this fan fiction stuff. We ain't doing that in my book. To each his own. It's not in my book. I ain't doing all that. Witches, I put down. They're witches, but they're human. Um, they're alive. And I put a picture of the charmed ones. I love charm. Um, but I like visualizations. But I put their picture there so I could just look at them. Um, Magical powers. They're a inherent gene a born of a witch, become a witch. There are some humans who play with potions and knowledge, and they might call themselves a witch, but they ain't a witch. They a muggle. They ain't a weird witch. Um, and then they age regularly as humans do. If you're 50, you're 50. So they can use powerful magic to slow their aging appearance. So only the powerful can do that. The strength of a witch um, depends on their bloodline, their area, and their training. So a naturally powerful witch won't know how to fully use the power if they aren't educated and trained. So just details on that. So if I'm a witch, I still have to be trained, just like anything. Like if you're fighting, you can swing, you can make a punch, but someone who knows the jitsu is going to be kicking your ass. So it's just different levels. Even though you have power, you got to, hone it. You got to know how to use it. You got to be trained. And also, um, also area. So depending on ancestors, you can, um, if your ancestors are where you are living, you can absorb their power, depending on different powerful objects. You can absorb that power as well. And that really comes into play a lot in the second novel. That comes into play a lot. And then about education, I also said, okay, power, bloodline, okay. Wishes can be good or evil, just like any living being. And I put there are some covens, but mainly witches live their lives as any humans based on their whim. So just because we have the king and the religious coven, there are a lot of witches who are just living their lives. They don't have a coven. And then we have that powers can showcase even when they are toddlers. So, which is why witches don't go to school with others until high school. And before then, they are homeschooled until they learn control. So, even if they are not going to a school for the supernatural, they're homeschooled because they have powers that they can't really control at a very young age. When they're toddlers, some of their powers can showcase, and you can't be in school and you accidentally set your teacher on fire. So high school is when they really go to school. They're homeschooled before then. Um, well, they have, depending on their living situation, they have money. They have parents who are teaching them. Um, Also, their powers. That's why I put the picture of the charm ones to kind of remind me. So to try to get a visualization of how to detail their powers within the book, I think of like charm, or I think of like the Vampire Diaries, the originals, and also just stuff like that, how they can use their power. Okay. So that's all I'm going to do with species. Law and order. It's not too much to talk about with them. You have the oracles, you have the high order, and then you have the order of light. So those major supernatural law enforcement beings, organizations. Um, Also, you have supernatural beings who get inputted into human law enforcement. And also in the second novel, trying not to talk about the second novel, we have the Red Hawks. We have different organizations of law within Rhode Island that Brenda Samantha has created in order to reinforce her laws and human laws within the supernatural community. What else? So it's not really much to talk with them. That they keep the order. They're not very friendly. They straight down justice. The oracles, a lot of times without a trial. But it's very rare for them to get involved in anything. They let the high order and they let the order light deal with things. It takes a lot for them to get involved. So, the basic law is not to let the human world know about the supernatural world. But, in my world, some people know, certain political leaders like the U.S. president know about the supernatural world. Some friends might, some pets and slaves might know about human world, and hunters. There are some humans that know about the supernatural world. And then high human authorities know about the supernatural world and work to keep hidden in a balance as well. So, like the U.S. president and the governor, they're helping to try to keep things a secret themselves. They don't want this to get out. They understand that it can be a war, that some humans are not going to be able to handle this information well. Um, so not every human being knows, even if they are in power. Not all presidents, not all world leaders in different countries know about it. So it's order law is very general. But also, I did mention in a video I was going to talk about the structure of the school. So let's do that. So freshman year, just for those who do want the facts and want those little interview stuff, we have freshman year, the first semester, they have biology, critical writing, foreign language of their choice, PE, and Algebra 1. And then semester 2, they have public speaking, they have demonology, they have spell casting, and they have potions. So then sophomore year, semester 1, they have chemistry, geometry, sorcery, they have supernatural history, they have a sport of their choice, and they have astronomy. So then the second semester of their sophomore year, they have earth science and magical properties. They also have world history. They have advanced potions. They have magical compositions. They have magical law and ethics. They have criminology. And they have language arts. And then we all know in the book, well, not this book, that book. Natalie and Alex, they're smarter. So the rest of the friend group, they are in regular language arts, but Natalie and Alex, they are in AP language arts. And then we are going to go into junior year. So first semester, junior year. Well, I'll go through this, even though this is not book one. I'll go into it. So every single year, um, well, no, that might be a spoiler for the third novel. Um, and okay, we ain't gonna go through. We're not gonna go to junior year and senior year, just because I don't want to get beyond the first book. Yeah, I'm doing a video.
Oh, you okay?
You can text me. Sorry about that. And then also we have some buildings, important buildings within the campus. We have the Phoenix Center, which is an indoor sporting area, with for basketball courts, hockey, a pool, and then you also have on campus, football field, track and field, stadium, areas, soccer and all this other stuff. And then we have Barnes Hall, which is a closed, abandoned dormitory that students go to party. And then each dorm has its well, no, not each. Well, yeah, each dorm has its own little cafe area. So beyond lunchtime, you know that this is a boarding school, so everyone is living on campus. They got to have more than just lunch. So each dormitory building has like a little cafe area where they can eat their breakfast and they can have their dinner and they can like maybe get a snack. But gosh, Alex and Natalie's Alex and Nat's dormitory where they are at is for like the really upper. You know, everyone who goes to school has to be someone, from influence or money. You still within that group, you still find that some like Nat Alex still find a way to be even upper. So that dormitory has a very, very upper cafe. Um, so their cafe, you see, more details in the second book where they are talking even more about um, how the cafe is. So, but just, giving y'all more information about the book, about things that you might not have known within the book, and things that you might have kind of overlooked. So those are some details about how the school is, the campus. Also, there's security guards on campus. The teachers are living on campus, but also some live off of campus. What else about the school? Go back to my little notes. We talked about the vampire. Talked about the untitled note. Why did I put this note? To talk about the other species like Salazar, Brenda's favorite pet. So Salazar is a demon. He is. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. I'm telling you, us those who write fantasy. I know you all feel my pain. We be creating all these damn names, and we don't even. Well, I don't. So I put he is a Jara Rith demon. So he's almost like a snake like type of demon. Um, but yeah, I put that there just so I could talk about other species that are within the book. Um, so yeah, that was just to talk about different species. And then I put about I should have mentioned when I was talking about Natalie about the king, about different powers they have. Is this still going on? This was flickering. It just flipped on me. Okay. Hopefully it's still going on. But we learn later on in the book. Lord, hold on. Live TV. Hello. I'm doing a video. Quickly, I can't really pause it. No. Hopefully 10 more minutes. I'm just running my mouth. Hopefully 10 more minutes. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Uh, uh, okay. Well, all right. Bye. Okay, back to this. So Natalie, because she is a king, ancient coven, their powers go beyond like normal some other normal witches. So they have the power, which hopefully those who read the second novel remember this part of the book when we are talking certain points of Natalie's powers. You all remember what happened in this book. So Brenda learns and shares with Alex about Samantha, Natalie's mom's power, but the king power. Um, okay, let me read it. So Brenda says she is still too young and still untapped into her abilities to know something that grand. So the ability is they can negate any mystical power and also reinstate them without a fuss. So basically, the kings, Samantha and Natalie, she doesn't really understand it right away. Um, they are able to they're able to negate magic. Um, so in the book, the silent room, the detention room, where if you're in that room, you can't use any magical powers at all. So when Samantha enters the room, she negates the power of that room that stops people from being able to use their powers. You can't use it at all. So she was able to eliminate that powerful magic that is preventing everyone from using their powers. So read the same if you don't remember what I'm talking about. Um, so that's a big thing, and it really it ends up coming into play with the second novel. If you haven't read it, I'm not going to say it, but it comes into play where Natalie, is gaining more power. She's learning more about her abilities, and when her daggone coven think they know so much, when they wanted to test her, and those who read the book know what I'm talking about by what tests they did with Natalie, and it references back to this moment where she survives the test, and it connects with both books on pretty much how she's. I'm not going to get into it because that's the second novel. I'm going to stay focused, but mentioning that the silent room is based on the same magical properties and power of the Oak Clinic, and the Oak Clinic is so important because the Oak Clinic is, it started. Natalie's father, Maxwell, started the clinic, and the clinic is it's a clinic, but it upgraded. Second novel, you see that it really upgraded a lot after it was shut down, because due to his death, it was shut down, and a lot of activities, with these power people, the families, just being destructive. The clinic had to shut down, but in the second book it reopens. But the Oak Clinic is within the south side of Rhode Island, this state, and it's in a very tough neighborhood, and it has a lot of crime, a lot of activities, human gang activity, and also supernatural gang activity. But his clinic is the Oak Clinic. Negates powers in a way. So he did it so that everyone felt safe going in there. No one could attack each other. So there could be no violence. Vampire, werewolf, they couldn't go inside the clinic to get, treatment and be able to attack each other. They couldn't do it. It's just like the silent room, the detention room. You can't attack each other. So that was something, that power again. The kings have this power; they can negate magic. So they did it that way, but it was a peace accord as well. So the Oak Clinic has within it the Oak Treaty, the treaty of the supernatural families within that state who agreed that they were going to pretty much do a peace treaty, even though they're still at odds, but it's a peace treaty. Even outside of the clinic, you can't attack each other. Like, they had a peace treaty to say these almost like boroughs, these 5 blocks, or I believe it's a couple. I'm not gonna get into it because I need to look, but it's a certain amount of blocks around Oak Clinic that they agreed they weren't going to attack each other, because it's kind of crazy if say, oh, while you're in the clinic, no one can attack each other, but as soon as you walk out the damn door, you want to get shot. It don't make sense. So he was able to get these powerful families and individuals to agree that within this certain territory, within these blocks, no one is going to attack each other. Um, well, no one's going to kill each other. There's still robberies, it's mainly something within the supernatural community. So you still have humans acting up. But the supernatural community agreed. They made this treaty. And it's a powerful treaty that people want, because if the treaty is gone, so is the agreement. It's gone. And these territories that no one can really, get into and really fight over, can try to claim because of the treaty. But if the treaty is gone, if the clinic is gone, that beacon of hope is gone. That alliance that will punish whoever is breaking it will be gone. So you see Hamilton's parents are trying to get this treaty. They're trying to take advantage of Maxwell's death, and they're trying to take advantage of it, and they trying to hit the clinic while it's weak. And Brenda is also thinking the same thing. She's like, wow, if I'm controlling the clinic and I'm controlling that territory, I'm going to be on top, because these families who signed the treaty, they're going to be vulnerable. I can finally attack them without repercussion. Like, even though Brenda is crazy and powerful and psychotic, she knows better than to try to go against the treaty. Very what she technically is, but she's trying to do it, on the down low, just like Hamilton's parents. But she knows she can't outright go against the treaty or go against those who signed the treaty without the treaty being gone. So it's definitely, the Oak Clinic is so important, because it really is the balance, the beacon of hope, and also the balance of power, that's really keeping everyone kind of, close towards each other, even if someone's a little above, is keeping order. So without the Oak Clinic in Rhode Island, that state supernatural community is going to go crazy. So that's with the Oak Clinic. But also the Oak Clinic in the very beginning, it kind of switched to, it was like paper, but also it was actual oak. That's why it's called Oak Clinic. It was actual, because I'm thinking, oh, it's so long ago. They weren't really writing on paper. It's so long ago. They wrote on this this slab of oak, and they all had the signature, chisel, whatever. So I was being literal. And then also, I never decided who I wanted to, come out on top. I knew what the ending was going to be, that, the good guys win. But the parents and everybody fighting over it, it was really interesting to try to let the characters decide who was going to win what battle and stuff like that. Um, and then I mentioned earlier that the best friend who was a heart surgeon, he didn't make the final draft, and cause that was who Garrett Marshall was going to be the teacher that ends up being responsible for Maxwell's death, Natalie's father's death. He was supposed to be the best friend that started the clinic with Maxwell, but I changed it up to make him more younger, make him a pupil of Maxwell. Um, what other stuff did I change? I changed the names of those characters I mentioned. Arnold used to be called Arthur. Um, and then what else is different? Anything else we didn't talk about? We talked about the characters. We talked about the story. We talked about the school. We talked about the different species. We also talked about we talked a little bit about relationships. We talked about Natalie and Alexandra's relationship. We talked about um, Alex and her friend circle, how her and Olivia and Eleanor became friends. Julian is part of Alex's circle of friends. Hamilton is pretty much friends with Alex, but they're kind of close. In the book, you see that he's protective. He's trying to find a way to not have her end up dying by his parents' hands or by her own mama's hands. Her mama's crazy. I keep saying it, but it's so they seem to defend each other. They're close friends. He's a senior, she's not, but they're still friends. Um, who else? I talked about the parents. Saskia, she comes back in the second book. I know she was suspended. She was kicked out actually. She was kicked out in book one, but she does come back in the second novel. Just to let you all know that. Um, what else? I wish you all were on here so you all could tell me what else you all want to really know about. I also talked about how the structure is the school is more like a olden Victorian, a Gothic Victorian style. Um, mm, what else? What else to talk about? I know it's probably the book is not book, but this whole chat is so long. Um, what else was cut out? Natalie and Eleanor were supposed to have a longer relationship. Don't stab me, okay? But a lot of their relationship I took out because I really wanted to get the point across that it was just a friends with benefits relationship. Um, but so I didn't really want it to. I didn't want my audience to fall too much in love with their relationship. But so I took out a lot. I took out. There was one scene where I'm going to put some of this stuff back in for the anniversary edition. But there was one scene where they were all cuddled up watching movies in the dormitory in their dorm room, and just having like a date night, and they were just just having a moment where it's not showing them only sneaking around. Um, and then there was another scene where Natalie was home. um, it was like a weekend. She was home, and I took it out because I was like, I think it's too detailed, and she's young. This character's young, but she was in a shower, and she was dreaming about Eleanor, and doing some other stuff in the shower, masturbation was going on. And sometimes I wish I kept it in because sometimes I feel like the relationship was cut short. Like I kind of did a disservice to their relationship, but I really didn't want it to seem like it was too deep. And But I go back and forth on that because in the second novel, you'll see how I really go back to their relationship. You'll see how if you read the second novel. But I talked about, I think I talked about in another video when I talked about that book, how some things were changed a lot in the second novel. Um, that's mainly a lot with their relationship. Some things were changed. But you read the second novel. But in this novel, I took out those two scenes that involve those two. What else did I take out? I took out some two scenes where Simon, who was dating Leslie in the first book, and the one who was the mutual friend who ended up dying. Um, Simon, he had more scenes in the first book, just because he's a friend of Alex, so he should have been more, seen more. But because he was only there, um, for certain games, and he was only there for certain parties, because he didn't live on campus, he didn't go to the school. I felt that it was a lot of filler stuff. It was something that wasn't important to the story, having him around all the time, um, because he didn't go to the school. So I took out a couple of scenes that he was in, just them, goofing off, hanging out. I took out some of that type of stuff. I have them hanging out a lot more in the second novel. What else did I take out? I took out. This ain't flashed on me again. I really hope that this recorded everything. What else did I take out? I took out. Trying to think what else I took out. I should look at my little outline. Oh, I took out, but I think I told y'all before. Originally, Natalie had a brother, um, and that's what started their big fight. That wasn't in the frat house. They had a huge fight at school in the original draft, because they used to be best friends. Alex knew about Natalie's secret brother, and she kind of accused her and her mama about, y'all think y'all so good, and y'all so, y'all all high and mighty, but y'all gotta, you have a brother and your mama got son that y'all over here hiding, and all she was just putting the dirty laundry out. So that's why they got into that really big heated fight. But that didn't make it. And here, their huge fight was mainly about her, talking bad about Natalie's dead father. I took out that Natalie had a brother. She don't have a brother. That got taken out. What else got taken out? Mm, there was, yeah, I took it out, but I took out a scene where, well, yeah, y'all read it. I keep pausing like y'all didn't read it, and I really hope y'all read it because I'm just telling everything. Um, Natalie and Alex, during their time fake dating, um, there was a scene. I can't remember it in very detail, but there was a scene where, um, they're back at Natalie's house, and they're kidding around, and they ended up making out, and probably should have left it. I don't know, but I was really trying to cut down some of the adult content. I was really trying to cut. I'm so proud of myself. I mean, if y'all knew, especially if y'all read the second book, I was really trying to cut down a lot on the first one, because I really didn't know the genre at the time. Because when I first did this, I was going in the mindset of, trying to get it traditionally published. And I was like, man, these publishers aren't going to publish a whole bunch of, graphic stuff. So I cut out a lot of stuff. But that was another scene that happened. But kind of spoiler alert for those who didn't read the second book. In the second novel, I do a flashback in honor of the scene that never made it to the first book. And it's a different scene, but I go a little bit into them, a scene during their fake dating time. And it's a flashback to that time when they were fake dating. So I put that in the second novel because I felt that I should have added more of that time duration. But I didn't put it in the first novel. So I took that out. I took it out mainly, like I said, I didn't know if I would be traditionally published with too much of that content. But also, I didn't want to focus, I didn't want to take away from their friendship. And I also didn't want to make it too much like, oh, are they really fake dating or is it real? I definitely wanted to leave it where it is, focus on their friendship and not try to make it anything else, like just focus on them being friends. What else? I'm trying to think, did I take anything else out? Mainly everything I took out was mainly just, content that was a little too graphic or was just a little too much where I was just like, I don't think this is going to be traditionally published. So some of that stuff is going to anniversary edition. I'm bringing that stuff back. Also, I took out a lot of stuff with Eleanor and Natalie just because I was even though the characters were leaning me in that direction and I wrote it out, I still didn't put it in there because I told them they ain't gonna tell me what to do. I'm the author and I don't want y'all together. so I didn't I took out a lot of stuff because they were acting like they were all in love and they were about to get married or something. They were not listening to me. So I took some stuff out. Just so I can make sure the readers know, like, y'all probably did. Some of y'all probably already were rooting for them to stay together anyway. And Eleanor, she really, pushes me as well as an author to make decisions that maybe I would not have made because she's such a great character. And it's like, oh, like sometimes you want your character to be with the good guy and you don't want them to be with the rough around the edges character, the bad girl, the bad boy. So some of that stuff, you know what I'm talking about because I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put a lot of stuff back with the anniversary edition. And then, all right, I'm going to end it there because I can't think of anything else. And I just can't think of anything else. So comment, let me know. I'll do another video answering any questions you all have. If you think I forgot about anything, about talking about something, let me know. I'll do another video and answer all the questions, or depending on how easy I can answer the question, I might just reply to your comment instead of making a whole video. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. Hopefully you all enjoyed the the behind the scenes, all the details, and hopefully you enjoy me doing this type of video because I'm going to do it with my other two books. So Gates Bookstore, I'm going to go into first draft, things that I took out, things that just all these different details I'm going to go into, and also go into all the details with Darkness Awaits. So I'm going to get into that very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and also leave comments. Let's talk. And if you have not read the book, hopefully you'll still read the book, even though you watched this video. You shouldn't have. You ruined. You learned. You know too much now. Also, if you buy books from my website, jamilastone.com, or my publishing company website, Black Glory Publishing House, I will sign your book. If you order it anywhere else, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Target, Amazon, Apple bookstores, I won't be able to sign it unless you ship it to me, but it's just wasting money. Um, but if you want a signed copy, order it directly from me or my publishing company. If not, order it anywhere. Order it. I have hardback, paperback, ebook, um, Nook, Kindle. What's Apple? iPad. I say iPad. Oh my gosh, I feel so old. Um, I'll sign off. I feel so old right now. Okay, hit like. All right, bye. End. Yes, I want to end.